Hello, everybody. How you doing? It is Friday, and that means it's time for Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine, as we head into the weekend. I'm having so much fun in Ohio. I can't begin to tell you. This has been probably one of the roughest stretches that I've had in the last, quite a few years. And my news got better when I found out that I have shingles. It fucking hurts. I gotta tell you, it fucking hurts. Oh my God. I was thinking a few weeks ago, maybe I should get that vaccine. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And yeah. So now I'm taking antiviral medication, and who knows what that might do to me. It might make my head spin around like the Exorcist baby. Who in the hell knows? But I'm here to do a program for one and only one reason: to assuage my ego. No, because it's a responsibility. No, because this time of the year, there's probably only one show's worth of material that I can really deliver, because I'm a guy who talks about things that I know, and I don't get into this endless conjecture bullshit about what player and this player and that player, and is this guy coming back, and all of the things that, do you think Nick Chubb's going to be ready by week one? It's like, God knows that, but nobody on the internet knows that. And I'm so sick of reading the takes that it makes me really, I taste the vomit in my mouth. So, I'll do 2 shows a week for the most part, but usually there's only 1 week, 1 day a week that's really worth it. And I don't even think that today's worth it necessarily, but if I stop doing these shows, who knows, I might become unaddicted to it, and I might just say, fuck it. But I won't let the asshole people on Twitter lead me to that conclusion. And there's a bunch of them. My goodness. Where do we start in the program today? There's so many different ways I can go. The Cavaliers have named their summer roster. I told you, it's kind of slim pickings out there. And Craig Porter Jr. is going to be out there this summer. Maybe the new coach, Atkinson, will play him. That would be a unique thing. Imani Bates will be out there as he's trying to push his way forward. This year's number 20 overall pick, Jalen Tyson, is going to be playing in the Summer League. Pete Nance, who has as much of a chance of playing in the NBA as I do, and successfully. And undrafted rookie DJ Burns, who's trying to uneat his way into the league. You remember him from North Carolina State. And then a bunch of names that you don't know and you don't care about. Luke Travers. This is the guy who is the best player in the organization. I've been reading this for 3 years on Twitter. Honest to God. Keep your eye on Luke Travers. It's like, my eyes are stuck cross-eyed, for God's sakes, staring at Luke Travers. He was drafted in 2022, and it just seems like an eternity people have been talking about him. We'll see what happens with that. And then a bunch of undrafted rookies. Hunter Couture of Virginia Tech, who's great with the slide rule, can't be so sure about a basketball. Utah State's Darius Brown, who might be going out with Sam Merrill on the next little Utah excursion. Naquan Tomlin from Memphis will get an audition. And even 25-year-old Canton native Javon Graves, who's been playing professionally in Europe for the last couple of years. 25-year-olds getting a look-see, and that's really what that is. And then the Cleveland Charge mainstays. I love that. Whether Gabe Osabuhin, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Zaire Smith and Dexter Dennis. And there's your roster. Boy, I'd rather watch the WNBA. I don't know about you. And the Summer League will begin Saturday morning, the mini camp. They'll be practicing 5 whole times. And Jalen Tyson, that will have people on Twitter saying, yep, he's the guy who's going to take over. He's going to take over for Okoro. And it's like, never mind that his feet are totally dry. The man, he needs to get his feet wet. I mean, come on. Why do people do this? It's really amazing to me. So that's something for all you Cavaliers to look forward to. Then there's this on the money carousel. The Orlando Magic have paid Franz Wagner $224 million rookie extension. That would give me an extension. Holy cannoli, $224 million for Franz Wagner. He's eligible to earn 30% of the team's salary cap should he get voted to an All-NBA team. He had a good year last year, 19.7 points, 5.3 rebounds, 3.7 assists per game last season, and he disappeared against the Cavaliers. Look, he's 23 years old, so I get it, but I don't get it. I mean, $224 million? And who is going to be able to hold Evan Mobley's dick down when it gets hard when he saw that number? Come on. $224 million. By the way, he's scoring, he's in good company. Shaquille O'Neal, Dwight Howard, and Tracy McGrady scoring at least 4,000 points before his 23rd birthday for that organization. Of course, Shaquille, God only knows, he was just triple bumping people and laying the ball up at the time. Shaq wouldn't be nearly the force today that he was back then. And then you had Dwight Howard, who we know was artificially created and has a penchant for guys who dress up like women. Wagner was the number 8 overall pick from Michigan, so he is one happy guy. So congratulations. All right. And now the guessing games continue about what the Cavaliers might do. So far, it's been nothing. And there's some people who are waiting for this and literally waiting and waiting and waiting. And it's like, I got better things to do, honestly, than sit around and wait to find out if Dorian Finney-Smith is going to become a Cleveland Cavalier. Let's be honest about this. It's a guy who averaged 7-8 points a game, and he played for the Nets. And I'm supposed to get excited about that? Oh, what do you think about Dorian Finney-Smith? Oh, I thought he was fine. Fine actor, fine British actor, Dorian Finney-Smith. Who in the hell knows who Dorian Finney-Smith is? He's 31 years old. He's never accomplished anything in the league. It's like, well, the Cavaliers need a wing. And this is the guy who Martina McBride did the song about broken wing. I don't want this. Dorian Finney-Smith. And then there's the other Cavalier or Cleveland Puritan fans. That's what I call him. But he's a good team guy. So is George Niang. I'm sure the team loved George Niang. They all thought he was funny and personable. They liked the fact that he kind of talked back and talked trash to the opponent. They didn't focus on the extra 25 pounds on his gut. Hey, look who's saying hi. Do I know you? I seem to know you from somewhere. Roxanne rocks. Damn. Thought I heard her stirring around just a little while ago. It's funny. The Cavalier fans, Cleveland fans in general, you're either trying to get better or you're not. If you want to hire Boy Scouts, then go ahead and plunge in the standings. I get so sick and tired of it. A lot of the people who are doing this nonsense, they were the same people who was like, that's why I cheer for Jim Thome, because Jim Thome, what, took steroids? No, he did not slap a woman. Yeah, but Albert Bell did on several occasions, and he even threw a baseball at a kid in the minor leagues. And you had no problem when he hit 50 home runs. You were right in line, weren't you, you weak bastards? Where did all this virtue suddenly come from? Do you have any idea how many professional athletes have trouble with the law? I mean, I just started looking some things up, and this all is being played out because of Miles Bridges, of the Hornets guy who really had a bad situation with his ex-girlfriend and was arrested for assault. And they're lumping a guy who threw billiard balls at the car when his children were there and beat up his girlfriend to Deshaun Watson. Now, I don't understand what the comparison is, Mr. Virtuosities. I don't get it. Do you want to win or don't you? Because, the Pittsburgh Steelers have no fucking problem bringing people in who intentionally hurt people on and off the field. No problem whatsoever. If you were a Viking fan, you'd have loved Adrian Peterson, even though he whipped his own child's testicles. You wouldn't have had a problem with it. Never heard from any of you motherfuckers at all when that shit was happening. Didn't hear nothing. And it's just, there's so many stories about it. My God. I didn't see people standing going, oh my God, Ray Caruth. You didn't have anything to say. But you're all Mr. Virtue now. This isn't a matter of whether you love women or hate women. It isn't that. It's business. Do you have any idea how fucking crazy Elon Musk is? Do you have any fucking idea? And you're telling me that Elon Musk hasn't done something somewhere? Of course he has. He's crazy. You have a guy running for president who abused women, but you're MAGA people. A lot of these people are fucking MAGA people. And, the virtuous people, and I just read before I came on the air, Joe Biden saying, you're not going to pull me out of the water? Oh, out of the race. Well, I can't run that fast. What race are you referring? The human race? Are you threatening my life? It's like, he's got dementia. He's brain-addled. He shouldn't be president, okay? And neither should the other guy who lets Russian women piss all over him. He's a pervert. But Mr. Virtue, no, I got a problem with Miles Bridges. I got a problem with Deshaun Watson. And that's what I want. I want a pure team. I want all my players to be like Mark Price and sing in the choir. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the problem is, you were right there. Jim Brown's the greatest running back, and he threw a woman down a flight of stairs over a banister. Didn't have a problem with that. Hell no. Browns were world champions in 1964. Oh, you loved him. Admit it. You loved him. You loved winning, didn't you? Over 1 million of y'all, 1.5 million, showed up when the Cavaliers won a title. You love that. Have you gone back and really looked at who played on the Cavaliers team? Do you think they were all squeaky clean? Fuck no. Stop it. So that's why I'm talking about this. It's because of Miles fucking Bridges, all right? He averaged 21 points a game. He's obviously better than the other players that we're looking at, like Dorian Finney-Smith, all right? He's a guy who could actually be a go-to scorer, a very capable basketball player, but a guy who's got problems, right? But you don't want to win. You don't want a guy with problems. But you loved Kareem Hunt, didn't you? He kicked a woman right on a video camera. You loved his ass, didn't you? Oh, yeah, we need that power back. That guy who can get that short yardage, you know? We need that guy who's got that leg drive. Oh, he's got leg drive right into a woman's midsection. Please. It really bothers the piss out of me. It really does. Are the Cavaliers really going to get these players? Is it worth really talking about and going through this whole exorcism? Do you think that the Cavaliers front office and ownership are going, oh my God, we can't get Miles Bridges. We can't because the fans are going to rebel. Oh, fucking please. When do you people realize that you are not part of the game? You are spectators. Okay? A spectator is a potato who watches. You're a spectator. And you're not even good at it. You're a commentator. So, do you want to get better or don't you? And right now, the choices are very limited for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Very limited. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that things are looking up for the Cavaliers because you've got the players you've got. The other thing I don't understand is you're going to criticize players because they've had trouble with the law. All right, and I don't want to lose my track on this, but you have no problem with Jared Allen giving up on his team. Got no problem with that. You have no problem with George Niang showing up 25 pounds overweight. You have no problem with that and just tiring out by the end of the season. You had no problem with that. He's a good guy. Yeah, he's a good guy. Jared's really a nice guy. Yeah, he is. He let his whole team down. He's a lousy teammate, and the teammates hate him now because 2 years in a row, he fucked us at the drive-thru. Come playoff time, he becomes a powwow. He should be traded. And no, he didn't strike anybody except he gut punched every one of his teammates and took him out of the playoffs 2 years in a row. The players don't want him. Now the owners, they listen to the players. They don't listen to you. They don't. Oh, God. Just watch the Kareem Hunt video and shut the fuck up. Okay? Do that. 27 current NFL players who've been arrested multiple times. Do you want me to go through a list? Jonathan Babineau, Jared Allen, Khalif Barnes, Ahmed Bradshaw, Kenny Britt, Marcel Darius, Elvis Doomerville. Oh, you Ravens fans. You loved Elvis, didn't you? Oh, thank you very much. Nick Fairley, Everson Griffin, Vincent Jackson, Sebastian Janikowski. God, he had a great leg, didn't he? Mm-hmm. Assault, battery, alcohol, DUI, and drug charges. But you loved yourself some Janikowski, didn't you? He was fun to watch. Adam Pac-Man Jones, multiple arrests, including assault, battery, and drugs. Oh, we could use Pac-Man, couldn't we? Marshawn Lynch, arrested for DUI, weapons, drugs, and reckless driving. Brandon Marshall, arrested for domestic violence, DUI, and disorderly conduct. You loved him too, didn't you? Ray Malaluga, or as one of my old guests used to say, Ray Muahuga. Oh, my. Charged with assault and battery and DUI. Rolando McLean, Von Miller. Oh, yeah. William Moore, Adrian Peterson. I already mentioned him. He's classic. Joseph Randall, Jerome Simpson, Alden Smith, Aqib Talib. Assault battery charges, guns and weapons. Dante Whitner. Isn't that great? Charles Woodson. Oh, what a great player he is. Hell yeah. Michael Vick, who did get his punishment because it was a dog he hurt, you see? But all these other people, they hurt people, and it didn't bother you. Only if they're coming to Cleveland, then it bothers you. And you know something? I don't want to live in an area with people like you because you're judgmental motherfuckers. You don't wait to hear the whole story. Miles Bridges, we've heard the story, and he's not a good guy. I'm the first one to admit it. But you don't know the story about Deshaun Watson any more than I do, or what the women were up to and what they've been up to since. Go ahead and show me the virtuous women that he was with. Where'd they go? What are they doing? What are they up to? What was their purpose? You don't want to talk about that. Let me tell you, men can be evil and women can be evil too. They can be wicked. Both sexes. And if you're wondering about Miles Bridges, ask yourself this one question. As terrible things as he did, and they are bad, why did the court not take away his custody of children? His girlfriend has main custody. But here you go. Here's the question. Do you know that Miles Bridges still has the right to have visitation with his kids? And they took it out of his girlfriend's hands so that a third party could decide it. She ain't no saint, folks. She ain't no saint. She changed her story 3 times on the witness stand, and that's why he got off on a lesser charge. They're both bad news. But stop deifying people on the basis of their gender. There are good people and bad people. Now, if you don't want Miles Bridges, that's fine. But don't tell me that the reason I don't want him is because he's amoral. Look at yourselves. God almighty. How about the NBA crime library? Kevin Porter Jr., you had no problem when he was in Cleveland, did you? There were people who were saying, how could we have let him go? How could the law have let him go? Nah, Rox. No. You don't remember Jezebel? Kevin Porter Jr., ex-Cavalier, felony assault and strangulation. And that's when he went to the Houston Rockets. And you were still complaining, why did we get rid of him? You see, you play both sides. If Cleveland gets rid of the guy, oh, he had promise. Yes, he had 2 strong hands and he strangled somebody. James Boonite. I'm just going to name the names. Torian Prince. These are people who drug possession. I mean, it's like these are not princes, folks. Montrell Harrell. Devontae Graham. You know these people. And there's Miles Bridges. He's right in the group. Jackson Hayes. Alex Caruso. Drug paraphernalia and drugs. You don't hear that about him. They love him. They love him, don't they? Alex Caruso's making good money now. He just got traded. He's going to make good money. You have no problem, except if he came to Cleveland. You'd bring this up. It's really bad news. Terrence Davis. There's so many more. It's not worth really talking about, but it pisses me off. It really pisses me off. Now, what do I want the Cavaliers to do? I want Niang off the team because he's not serious. Now, I speak as a former employer, all right? It's one thing if a person's inexperienced, green, doesn't know better, is young, maybe makes a few mistakes, makes a few bad judgments, just like children. You don't cast them away to the Netherlands. But when somebody doesn't take their job seriously when he's been in the league for 7 fucking years, and, if somebody lets themselves get away and out of shape like that and ends up hurting the team, that isn't good. That's not good at all. So nobody says anything about, well, we don't want him back. Well, I don't want him back. I don't. He's not serious. Jared Allen is not serious. You got to be dedicated in this game today. I mean, did you learn nothing from LeBron James and from Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan and Larry Bird? Oh, the great players who put every bit of themselves into the game, who worked and worked and worked. And then, but now you're going to sit there and cheer Luka Doncic, who's fat. He's going to have a shortened career because he's out of shape. You have no problem with that. But he's ruining his team's chances. He's got all the money he could ever have. He'd rather eat cheeseburgers than remodel his body. Then you have LeBron, who's 40 years old, and look at him. He's still averaging 25.7 points a game. You win with serious people. I want serious people. Now, do I want to do character checks on them? I want serious people. If I can't control somebody from doing something bad, I get them the fuck out of my business. If a guy does something like that, if you take a chance on somebody and then they end up assaulting somebody again, you just get them out of there. Be done with it. But you got to have players on the floor. And George Niang ain't one of them. Jared Allen ain't one of them. But Jared Allen made an all-star team, and it was unimportant. He hasn't shown up when it's important. Darius Garland, I'm holding my tongue. He should be much more muscular, stronger. He's not working out in the offseason. He's got to come back looking the same, his little twig figure in his little long sleeve undershirt. And he's going to get pushed around, bitch slapped, and get his jaw and whatever else broken. He's well on his way to having a shortened NBA career. But I'm giving a pass for one more year because JB Bickerstaff was incompetent, making bad decisions, was coaching for himself. So we're going to bring Darius Garland back because you're not going to get enough for a trade for him. That's kind of obvious at this point. Yeah, you're going to bring him back. But there's a group of players. I mean, I don't want to see Tristan Thompson anymore. I mean, no offense, but he's old. And he can't do what you need him to do. You got to have somebody out there who not only can get offensive rebounds, but you got to have somebody who could move laterally side to side and play straight up defense. Got to be able to do that. We need to cleanse a portion of our roster and bring in some talent. And so far it's not happening. And it's not helping that the fan base is going to pick and choose on the basis of their perceived virtue while they go to the polls and they vote for two men who are incompetent to be president of the United States. And you call yourself virtuous people. One guy won't get out of the race, even though he has Alzheimer's disease, because the money's too good. And that's the reason. He's not going to win. I can tell you that. The other guy, we already know. He'll do anything. He'll have a reality television show. He'll do whatever it takes to make money. Donald Trump's been good at making money. And he wants to get back in that White House because, man, the Trump brand That'll fuel it for another 4 years. You got to be smart enough to know this, folks. Get tired of it, man. Now the Guardians. The Guardians, don't laugh. She should shut her fucking mouth. What kind of a wife are you that you would say, yep, I'm pushing my husband right into the bright lights, even though he doesn't know where the fuck he is? I really love him. It is sickening. It is sickening. See, women and men, you can be, into the power trip in either gender. Yeah. At any rate, the Guardians, I promised. The Guardians are fighting. And it was nice to see them get their offense untracked against a team that. Wait a minute. And it was really funny. I caught something on Twitter before I went on the air that Paul DeJong, the White Sox guy who was an infielder, these are free agents that the Guardians could go after. He's 30 years old. And did you see him trying to stretch going around from second base and get thrown out because he ran out of gas running from second to home? Yeah, that's the guy I want. But he's hit 16 home runs this year. Did you see him trying to field? He has no range and he has no attitude. I mean, did you see Lewis, their center fielder, in the one game where he didn't even try to throw home with the winning run, standing on third base in the bottom of the ninth? Guy hits a relatively mediocre fly ball to center field. He never moved his feet. His name Robert Lewis. Is that his name? He didn't move his feet. He drifted to the ball, caught it on his back foot, and then he didn't even throw the ball home. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care that he's hit 12 home runs or whatever. I don't care. He's off my team. He's not trying to win. That's horrible. And they're demoralized. The White Sox are demoralized. And the Guardians are going through a stretch where, they're kind of up against it because they're not getting help from their starting pitching. Logan Allen, no. Tristan McKenzie, no. And Gavin Williams' return, no. He just was way out of sync, wasn't he? And the surprise of it all is that Ben Lively has won 8 games. Talking about the surprise, 8-2 record, the surprise player of the American League. Ben Lively, 32 years old. This guy played in Korea. Unreal. This was his last stop. And you know why? The Guardians offered him an opportunity to be the long relief man. And of course, we remember what that's all about. Think of all the years when the Indians were doing the same thing, where the last guy on the roster, he's like, we'll bring him in. He's got some experience. And, if the game is a lost cause, we'll bring him in. That's who Avila is right now, the patron saint of lost causes. Ben Lively is a guy that was never supposed to stick with the team. He's 8-2, and he has been the most consistent pitcher for the Guardians this year. It's a great story. And I just, you don't hear of any of this. His best fastball occasionally is 93 miles an hour. His curveball is 75 miles an hour, but he throws strikes. Now, to his detriment, in the past, he puts the ball in the wrong spot. It gets hit real hard. But then we saw Tristan McKenzie doing the same thing at 93 miles an hour, if that. And he would hang something and it would go 420 feet. Ben Lively is an amazing story. I like to look at guys like this and say, isn't it nice that a guy has one good year in him, and this is what has kept the Guardians at the top of their division, is that they're getting assistance from players who you're like, you think Josh Naylor is going to hit 20 home runs? You mean this season? No, I mean by the All-Star break. Hell of a nod. No. But yes. Jose Ramirez, we counted on. But you look at some of the other players and the contributions they made. A guy named Schneemann, we didn't even, Every time I think of the players, I think of a Jewish guy. Freeman, Schneemann. Who the hell are they? That's who they are as a first place team in the Central. It's amazing. I feel good about this team because they really try. And I've already spoken glowingly of Stephen Kwan because he's not lucky. He knew he wasn't going to continue hitting 400, I hope. He whacked a home run the other day. Wow. Thing just jumped off his bat. He's got 8 home runs now. And which is amazing for a guy who is a slight guy. We were talking about Ichiro, and Ichiro, hit more home runs than Kwan. Well, now Kwan is suddenly hitting more home runs, and that's not his job as a leadoff hitter. Ron Shane is in here. John Kenzie Noel. He's the first Noel, I believe, that I've seen it. The first Noel. Oh, he's the guy who wears the pink sleeves. Yeah, the ball jumps off his bat, doesn't it? But there's one guy who I'm really intrigued by, and his name is Angel Martinez. And I remember when I saw Stephen Kwan first come up, and I said, "Guy's hit 300 here, he's hit 300 there, every level." And when he came up, he was making contact with everything. And it was like, well, but the ball doesn't really depart off of the barrel of his bat, analytically speaking, very fast. It's like, that would be the criticism. But man, he doesn't strike out, does he? And he slaps the ball around and he gets on base. He's got a great eye and he's a great fielder. Those types of players kind of stood out. Another guy who kind of stood out for me was Will Brennan, because he had the same story at 300 throughout every level. And he did really nicely when he first came up. Then he struggled. And, they talk about sophomore jinx and all that stuff. But health hasn't been on his side either. And, right when he was getting it together this year, he got hurt again. So there's that. But Angel Martinez, there's something when I'm watching him, and it's going to be one of these things that might not make any sense. He has confidence. I'll give you an example. When Kyle Manzardo came up, and, of course, we want a power bat guy with ball jumps off the barrel of his bat. And it does when he hits it. But he came up and he was caught in between fastballs and curveballs. He wasn't getting it. And Manzardo had to be sent back down. And it's like, I'm not really worried about it because the same thing happened twice to Jose Ramirez. Guys come up and they're just not ready for the diversity and the changes of speed and the way that little home plate can get bigger, and get expanded by changing eye level on pitches. It's a huge jump from AAA to the big leagues. But Manzardo was clearly guessing at home plate. And, we've seen some guys get off to a good start, and then they look lost, and they start striking out. And I was looking up information on Angel Martinez and saying, well, who is this guy? And it's not like he has hit 300 at every level. Au contraire. But he's only 22, and he was born in January, so he's a real 22, not 22, going to be 23 later this year. He's 22. And he's discovering what he can do with a proper hitting coach. He's 6 foot and over 200 pounds, and he is a shortstop by trade, and they're going to give him a shot at outfield position. But there's something about him that is different. He's hitting the ball, and it's that the loud out that he made with the bases loaded. He cracked the ball into the gap. It just hung up, and the guy caught it out there in right center field. But he's been getting hits, getting on base, and he doesn't seem to be excited at all. He seems unusually comfortable for a guy who'd never played in the big leagues before. Keep your eye on him. And that's really the joy of watching the Guardians right now is, and it's true, Amsterdam, you're right. That's what the belief is that they're showcasing them to be traded so they can end up getting more, in a better draft situation or whatever they're looking to do. Some of these players will be good players, and some of them will be Russell Branyan, and I'm not even hearing about Chase DeLauter. I don't even know what he's doing. Why doesn't somebody in the chat room look up what Chase is up to? Because I have no idea. But coming off the injury and all, he's not going to see the bigs again, I don't think, this year. But he was the big, talked about guy in Manzardo. Those were the two guys. As it turns out, Schneemann, who wasn't talked about at all, has made an impact, and the ball jumps off his bat pretty good. He's doing a good job. And, we have Tyler Freeman, who can't hit worth a damn. And again, that's true, Amsterdam. These players never saw the light of day in the organization under Francona because he did. He liked veteran players. And, that was his approach. And, you got to, and the biggest complaint that fans would have is we don't have a minor league system. And so it appears. When the people that we want, corner infielders, we had to move Jose Ramirez from second base to third base. We couldn't seem to create our own third baseman. Nolan Jones, that was when they got rid of. We couldn't create power at the corners, third base and first base, and we've been horrible at power hitting outfielders. I mean, it's been tough. I'll tell you this. Jimenez, what in the hell? These relay throws are getting fucking crazy, man. Got teams hitting the ball in the gap, outfielder throwing it to him, and no matter where he is on the field, he turns around, pivots, and it's like he doesn't even, draws a bead on it. He knows exactly where he is, and he cuts loose throws. He's a second baseman. And you say to yourself, well, he's a second baseman because he doesn't have that great an arm. Horse shit. This guy turns around, throws the ball, and twice that I've seen, maybe 3 times this year, gunned people down with perfect throws that literally led the catcher's glove right to the runner at home plate at full speed. Unbelievable. He's a great fielder. Jimenez, who may never consistently be much more than a 250 hitter, is a guy who's right there. It's like watching a young Roberto Alomar. He's really a fine fielder. And Rocchio, he's a little bit excitable, and he's starting to settle down and get on base and find ways to get on base. But Rocchio is also a very talented defensive shortstop. And, we'll see if he can develop a little bit more. But these other power positions, we just can't get it done. So it would be nice if a Manzardo or a DeLauter would come out of nowhere. So now it's John Kenzie who's getting a chance at the big leagues. And he's, I'm not sold on that. And Rodriguez, who just fell apart, they sent him back down to AAA. But it's been a fun year. It has just been a real fun season. And right when you think, oh my God, we're losing to the White Sox, and and we're not doing so well. We're playing 500 ball, and the Twins are within 6 games of us, and oh no, here it goes. They keep fighting back, and I like that. And whether their bullpen can continue to keep things going, they had the one bad bullpen game, but they've been good all season long. Who knows? But I hope that some of these young players get an opportunity to stick instead of, because I'll tell you what will happen. A guy like Angel Martinez will be seen by the Tampa Bay Rays, and they'll get him. And 2 years from now, he'll be a 300 hitter for them and a mainstay. I've seen it too many times. Remember Yandy Diaz? Remember him? There was no room in him because, the launch angle, the way he swings his bat is no good. We want home runs from him. Why would you fuck with a consistent 300 hitter? That's the problem of the front office, not the player. Jose Tena is another guy, or Tena. He's another guy who got sent back down. And we have this stash of too many infielders, and some of these guys are going to go away. I know, Amsterdam. The ball would come off his bat at an incredible speed. He had exit velocity that wouldn't quit. But they didn't like the trajectory. He hit too many doubles. Shame on him. So instead, what we do is we end up, we settle on guys who can't hit the ball at all. And that's kind of what happened. I'd like to see, somebody have some patience with the young players. It would be nice. And something? They keep sending Eli Morgan up and down. He's like a yo-yo. The guy's got a 1.90 earner and average this year, and I still think the guy's a gopher ball waiting to happen. And I don't know why people, maybe they wanted to prove that he could still pitch so they can trade him. I don't know. I have no damn idea. That's what I know today, folks, which is nothing except if you want to win, what my father used to say, you got to crack a couple eggs to make an omelet. And you may not love every player who plays for your sports team, but you gambling disease prick, you're gambling on this shit, and you're spending your family's money and your children's education money on this bullshit. So you better start winning, asshole. That's my message to you. Get the players that can win. If you're looking for choir boys, you just keep betting your future away, for God's sakes. Yeah, well, the consistency isn't there, DJ bro. It's just not there. We've scored way more runs and hit more home runs than anyone could expect, but everyone's wondering if they're going to falter in the dog days of summer, which is, August and September, the dog days. Are these younger players? Is all the wheels just going to come off? Who knows? We'll see what happens. But the fact that they can bounce back from a couple of games where they just couldn't score shit against pitchers who were like, well, who is this guy? And then come back and get 8 runs. They keep fighting, and that's all I can ask for my team. And I don't, and nobody said anything about Omar Vizquel. Guy was a pervert. Did you know that? When women reporters, he would parade completely naked in front of them. He was a creepy guy. You had no problem with Omar Vizquel because, boy, he had a great glove. He became a good hitter. And like I said, you didn't have a problem with Albert Bell. Figure it out. If you want to gamble your life away, go ahead. I'm a fan, and I want to win. Not me personally. I like to watch winning teams. I loved it when the Cavaliers won a championship because I said, hey, this happened in my lifetime. What do you know? Do you know how many Cleveland fans have lived and died without seeing that? That's pretty damn good. I hope everybody has a really, really good weekend. I hope your 4th of July went well. It was soggy here. And, but hey, celebrate your freedom or what freedoms you do have. And we'll be back again, perhaps on Monday, if I have more shit to talk about. Everybody, you take care. Have a good weekend. And until next time, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.